Welcome back. I am Alex.
And I am Jamie. In this episode, we'll review Highgate's rules on architectural standards and maintenance responsibilities, rules that the board is expected to enforce and that homeowners are expected to follow. We'll summarize specific requirements from Highgate's governing documents, reference board meeting statements, and show current photographs submitted by listeners. We also identified 2 rules that apply specifically to the Kent homes. We'll present those and ask whether, in your view, they're being followed.
During recent walkthroughs of Highgate, listeners documented widespread deferred maintenance. They also raised concerns that the board may not be enforcing community standards consistently. Consistency matters, not just for appearances or property values, but for legal risk. When an association enforces rules against some owners but not others, that can lead to claims of selective enforcement. When rules are ignored long enough, a court may conclude they've been waived. In real terms, consistent enforcement supports fairness, predictability, and protection for the entire community.
To understand what the association is required to enforce, we'll look at 2 parts of Highgate's Declaration of Covenants and Restrictions. Article 3, Section 4. Article 6, Sections 1D, 2A, and 2B. We'll summarize what these sections require, how they're supposed to function, and where enforcement may be in question.
Article 3, Section 4 creates the Architectural Review Board, the ARB, and defines its purpose: to protect property values and preserve a consistent exterior look across the community. The ARB's core duties are: 1. Regulate exterior design, appearance, and location of improvements to maintain consistency with the community concept surrounding homes, landscaping, and terrain. 2. Evaluate proposed exterior changes for safety and visual harmony, including materials, style, and color. 3. Monitor compliance. The ARB is expected to confirm that work on lots, dwelling exteriors, and common areas matches both what was approved and the standards recorded in the bylaws and Book of Resolutions. 4. Maintain permanent records. All approved plans, specifications, and decisions must be documented and preserved. 5. Set standards. The ARB drafts and updates written architectural guidelines, which must be confirmed by the Board of Directors. It's also responsible for adopting review procedures, which are recorded in the Book of Resolutions.
Now, Article 6, Section 1D. No exterior work that alters a lot or common area may proceed without prior written approval from the ARB. The section lists examples: improvements, alterations, repairs, paint changes, grading, fences, landscaping, and more. In plain language, if the work changes appearance or condition from what's natural or already approved, it requires approval first. Article 6, Section 2A. Each homeowner is responsible for maintaining their lot and everything built on it. It must be kept in good order and repair, free of debris, and maintained on a schedule that reflects sound property management, unless a separate recorded document assigns that responsibility elsewhere. Article 6, Section 2B. If a homeowner violates the covenants or the standards in the Book of Resolutions, it's treated as an unapproved change. After written notice, the owner has 15 days, or less if stated, to correct the issue. If not corrected, the association can enter the property, fix it, and bill the owner for the cost.
According to the Summary of Architectural and Other Rules and Regulations of Highgate Owners Association, decisions on architectural issues must follow 3 principles. 1. Preserve and enhance value. 2. Maintain visual consistency among homes, landscaping, and other visible elements. 3. Conform to the original community design, not individual personal taste. The summary also says an ARC application is required for any change in color, design, or architectural element, unless the specific change has been pre-approved for the entire community.
At a board meeting in March 2023, the then president, according to multiple attendees, instructed the ARB chair to hit the gas. As described to us, the instruction meant start issuing violation notices and monitor corrective action. More than 2 years have passed, and listeners are asking, what has actually changed in terms of visible compliance and enforcement? To explore that, several listeners submitted current photos from around Highgate.
Here are 4 homes we chose to highlight. At the September 2025 board meeting, according to meeting notes shared with us, the HOA president said that altering the Kent decks would require a site plan change, architectural drawings, and county approval because Highgate is a managed community. That implies strict regulation, and Highgate's own rules call for visual consistency across all homes. Please look at the home on the screen. You'll see a stone border along the planting area, a porch or stoop light fixture that doesn't appear to match the polished brass standard in the rules, and a front yard tree that looks different from what's typically seen on that block. Here are the questions listeners asked us to raise. 1. Did the board or ARB formally approve these changes, and if so, when? 2. If Highgate is responsible for trees, why does this appear to be the only replaced tree on the block? And was that part of a broader plan? 3. If the homeowner arranged the work, did they submit an ARB request? 4. Was the homeowner reimbursed? If so, that could indicate formal approval. Do these updates align with HOA rules as you understand them? Home 2. The roof shingles appear to use a color palette different from what residents commonly describe as the weathered wood standard.
Home 3. The front landscaping and hardscape look different from nearby homes. A garage area light fixture appears to be hanging from its socket instead of mounted. The workmanship standard says exterior work must meet or exceed the original build quality.
Home 4. Front landscaping again looks inconsistent with the surrounding block.
These 4 were simply the first homes that stood out. There are more, which we'll discuss later in the episode. But these 4 raise a clear policy question. What standard is the board enforcing outside the Kent decks? Because when it comes to the Kent deck subsidy, we keep hearing phrases like preserving community appearance and protecting property values. So is that standard being enforced across all of Highgate, or just when it's time to subsidize the Kent decks?
At the September 2025 meeting, the HOA president said removing the Kent planters would require a county site plan change, architectural drawings, and multiple permits, a process that could take years and might not even be approved.
So here's the question. If exterior changes require that level of formal review, permits, drawings, county sign-off, how do we explain the visible changes to these 4 homes?
If individual owners can make visible changes that do not seem to align with Highgate standards, and those changes remain in place, then why is removing the Kent planters described as impossible? Because removing or redesigning the planters could lower long-term cost of the Kent decks, reduce the risk of water intrusion and structural damage to the Kent decks.
So we put it to you. Does it make sense for the board to say the Kent planters can't legally be changed to lower long-term cost for all owners and reduce the risk of water intrusion and structural damage to the Kent decks, while other homes show visible alterations that don't match long-standing standards? Tell us what you think in the comment section.
Now, let's turn to the Kent home specifically. Highgate's architectural summary lists 2 Kent-specific rules. 1. Soil in Kent planters must stay below the water protection inserts and barriers. 2. Kent owners are responsible for maintaining the tile on their front stoops to prevent water intrusion.
Look at the images on screen. Do those stoops appear sealed and intact? Are the planter boxes maintained below the protective barrier line? We will pause to give you time to view the images. Here's the policy question. The board says stoop condition isn't causing the water damage, but the HOA rules say Kent owners are responsible for maintaining their stoops to prevent water intrusion. So if stoop condition doesn't matter, why does that rule exist?
What you're seeing are stoops in visible disrepair and planters that appear filled above the barrier line. If Kent owners aren't following the rules and the board isn't enforcing them, should the cost of repairs be shared across the entire HOA? Or should the Kent owners and the board personally shoulder more of that cost?
Here's what seems clear to me, and this is my opinion based on the rules and what we've seen. The only rule that seems to be enforced is that non-Kent owners are expected to subsidize the Kents.
I agree. Given the attention and money going to the Kent area, you'd expect Kent owners to be fully aligned with all applicable rules out of simple respect for the community and appreciation for the non-Kent owners who subsidize the Kent area of the HOA. The concern of lack of rule enforcement goes beyond the Kent block. The next photos come from all over Highgate. Listeners documented peeling paint, rusted railings, tarnished fixtures, deteriorating trim, DIY patch jobs, missing window mullions, and incorrect paint colors.
As the images scroll, remember, 1. The stated goal of the guidelines is exterior consistency. 2. At the September meeting, the president said that appearance affects property values. We will pause to give you time to review the images. If I were buying in Highgate, I'd see the peeling paint, rusted metal, rotted trim, broken junction boxes, and faded signage before I ever saw the Kent decks. That's what buyers and appraisers see. That's what affects value.
If I were an investor, I'd see strong rental value and lax enforcement. You get the benefit of the neighborhood without pressure to meet its standards, and costs, such as assessments, can be written off as business expenses. That's a win for landlords.
And that fits what we're hearing. A share of recent sales are going straight to rental. That's not a coincidence. There is an incentive to do so.
Now step back. You're being told that protecting community value requires a 5-figure assessment, thousands per household, to fund repairs in one place, the Kents. Meanwhile, the rest of Highgate contains examples of deferred enforcement of standards. So ask yourself, if appearance really affects value, why isn't enforcement consistent?
Here's the core question. How can the board justify special assessments under the banner of preserving property values if those same values are undermined by the lack of enforcement of community rules throughout Highgate? That's not drama. That is a critical governance question.
At the end of the day, this is your community. You pay the dues, you carry the liability. If you don't speak, the board controls the narrative and the neighborhood's future. So ask yourself right now, do you support the direction they're taking, including forcing a 5-figure assessment to protect the Kent's property values, but not providing you the same consideration? Share your thoughts in the comments section.
We want to hear from you. If you've received a violation notice for paint, lighting, landscaping, fixtures, anything, tell us who's getting cited. For what? Are the rules being applied fairly or selectively? Because if enforcement is selective, that's not just unfair. That becomes a legal and financial risk for you and the entire community. Show up. Ask direct questions. Walk the property. Take photos. Document everything. Vote to hold the board accountable and attend all board meetings.
Like, subscribe, and share this episode with other Highgate owners. Drop your comments below.
We're not done. Until next time.